Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us for another episode of the Damn Podcast. I'm your host, Corey, and joining me is Justin,
Hello, guys.
and Nick,
Hello.
and Jamar.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Hey, thanks for joining us, Jamar. And Jamar's going to be a full-time guest now. Well, full-time member, not a guest anymore.
Oh, thank
Got
you, everybody.
promoted, people.
Yeah, yeah. It was just we had an application process. There was a lot of candidates, and like so many candidates. Oh my God! And he made the cut. So congratulations to Jamar.
Well, again, thank you, everybody, for having me, and I hope I don't let you guys down.
Oh, we'll see about that. We got a whole year ahead of us.
No.
And since it's 2021, we wanted to make this episode a bit of a roundup of what we did during 2020, which I imagine for most of us wasn't as productive year as we had hoped it would have been. So we're gonna just kind of kick it off with some video games we played in 2020, and for me, I don't really have a lot I cleared, unfortunately. I'm always bad with my backlog. I finally completed Dying Light, which has been something just sitting glaring at me and my friends for like years now. And I kind of figured I wouldn't get it done in time for Dying Light 2, but Dying Light 2 has just been pushed back so much that I actually completed the first game in time, so I'm happy about that. Another big game for me this year was Resident Evil 7, and I played all of its DLCs, and I just absolutely loved it. I played it in VR on my PSVR, and it was so fun.
Yeah, Resident Evil 7 really got famous for being great to play on the VR.
Unfortunately, it's only on PSVR for some reason. I don't know why they never ported it to PC.
Who knows? It's weird like that.
But
Yeah,
you can play it on PC, but there's no VR option, which is just stupid.
Yeah, I played Resident Evil 7 myself, but I still have not touched the DLC.
Oh, DLC is awesome.
I do know what it's about, but
yeah, I played as Yeah, what's up?
Oh, sorry, I was gonna say the Uncle DLC is pretty
Oh,
good.
it's so cool. Like that's the most metal thing I've ever metal DLC I've ever played. You just play as like this old ex-war veteran who just punches out zombies with his bare hands, and I'm like, this is amazing. And he you can tell he's a badass. There's just like all these dead crocodiles next to his hut, and you just watch him like strangle them with his hands. Crazy. But it was a really fun DLC, and the Chris Redfield's DLC was pretty fun too. I also played Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers. That came out last year, but I've still been chipping away at the content because they're still coming out with new patches for that expansion, and we're kind of waiting the next one. But that was a really good DLC. That's probably like the best story they've written expansion wise. I finally beat Witcher 3 Blood and Wine, so that's a big accolade for me. I was putting the DLCs off for so long. I beat Heart of Stone and Blood and Wine, and Blood and Wine was so good.
Yeah, Witcher 3 DLC is good, but it's also massive. It's like
yeah,
it's like that's kind of the reason why I haven't like replayed the game in a while, because like that game is really long. It'll take
right.
like it take me so long.
It's long. I straight did me and my friend straight did a fresh playthrough, went through it a whole game again, and then did Heart of Stone and Blood and Wine, and it was just like such a massive undertaking. But I'm glad it's over. I'm not going back. I'm never going back to that game for like 4 or 5 years. I need to just completely distance myself from the Witcher universe for a while until the next Netflix series comes out. But yeah.
Yes.
Outside of that, me and my friends played Borderlands 3. We were really disappointed. I kind of figured that would happen because I was starting to see for a while the spark leave Gearbox, and Borderlands 3 just really kind of confirmed that for me. It wasn't by any means a bad game. It was just really underwhelming, and they kind of dug themselves a hole with Borderlands 2 because that game was just so good, and all the DLC was so impressive that to put Borderlands 3 and really Borderlands the pre-sequel up to that, neither of them came close.
Yeah, that's a shame.
But
I have to agree because I'm also like a really big Borderlands fan, and it plays like Borderlands 2, but it felt like they didn't monetize Borderlands for 2019. It's just kind of like
Yeah.
they stuck with the dick jokes, and they're like, just keep it going.
Yeah, the character writing was nowhere near as good as 2. The gameplay didn't feel as on point. The character talent trees weren't as interesting. The story was so bad. Oh, it was so bad. I really didn't like it. And I don't really play Borderlands for story, but you know, when it gets like stupid or when it gets too tropey for a game that's supposed to be kind of a parody-ish game, you know, um, then that just kind of like completely breaks the immersion for me, and yeah, I just didn't really get into it. Um, but to close out my games of this year, I've mainly been playing Genshin Impact constantly since September when it released, and that has been sort of like my poison this year. I've spent a lot of money on that game.
What
I don't
characters
want to
have you
talk
got
about
in
it.
the game?
What characters don't I have?
Yeah, okay.
The only ones I don't have are the ones that are that haven't had their own specific banner. So I don't have Diluc and I don't have Chi Chi. Mainly because you can only really pull them either from the standard banner or if you don't happen to pull the character on the character banner for that it's
Yeah,
advertising.
yeah. So basically, you got Albedo then.
Yeah, I picked up Albedo too.
Okay, so basically we got Klee, you got
Yep.
Zong Daddy,
Yep.
you got Zong Dong.
Big Dong Zong.
Yes, him and his pillars.
Yeah.
They
Um,
just pierce everything.
did you hear about like how much the community were upset with Zhongli to the point that MiHoYo, yeah, MiHoYo straight releasing the 1.3 patch with tons of fixes to Zhongli because people were not happy with him as a support character. He was essentially supposed to be a very support oriented character, but the fact of the matter is Geo characters just don't synergize well with the team, and they kind of overlooked that a bit. Just to keep the story short, but
yeah, they wanted him to be up to snuff as Bennett, right?
yeah, basically Bennett's so broken.
I know.
It's ridiculous.
My God, like I've seen videos of Bennett, and it's like he's actually a lot more broken than people realize.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's been my poison this year, and yeah, hopefully I don't spend any more money on it.
Yeah, Nick, have you been playing? Have you played the game?
Yeah, I finally got into it. Then I've been cautious only because I too have swallowed the gotcha pill
Oh,
with the
don't
Fire
spend any
Emblem.
money.
I know. I've
So
been
Once
avoiding it.
once you
Or
pull
the
out the
Fire
credit
Emblem
card,
Heroes
so
game.
have you actually spent money on it, or are you free to play?
I'm still free to play on Genshin, and I'm planning to not spend money. I mean, I got Sucrose, who's actually the top tier best character already, so I really don't need anybody else. You know, I just
Yeah.
she's actually a pretty
but
good
I'll see.
character. She's really good actually for
I
certain
got her from my
situations.
first like free.
Ah,
I got
nice.
like 10 wishes or something.
Yeah.
When I turned level 10, and I just like, okay, yeah, just use them whatever banner is up here.
Yeah, once you pull
It
that
does
credit
seem like
card
a fun
out,
game.
once you pull that credit card out for the
Yeah.
first time, there's no going back. It's
Oh
just
man,
it's
Yeah.
just you
I mean,
can't.
definitely gonna be on my guard, and
There's
yeah,
like
try to
just a
avoid
little
that.
bit.
I mean,
I'm saving up for another college degree too, so I
Yeah.
can't be spending up
You
all
don't
those
need
money.
that.
Yeah, a lot of I realized with that game, a lot of the 4-star characters are actually better than the 5-star characters.
The reason
Especially
being is because they're actually obtainable, and
If you can get their other
it's
skills and stuff.
yeah, it's
then
much
that's
easier to get
fun
their
stuff.
constellation complete in comparison to a 5-star character. Because for a 5-star character, and I'm not even joking, usually people have to spend up to $1,000 to get a 5-star character's constellation
Oh,
finished.
God, no way.
Because I follow content creators on YouTube who do that for a living, and they're able to write that off as a business expense, and they get monies from their monetized video, so they're fine.
Yeah,
But
that's
they're literally
understandable,
like,
but
do not do this. Do not do
Yeah,
what I'm doing right now.
yeah, we got to make it clear. Genshin Impact pay money at your own risk,
Yeah.
and we are not even going to get into the debate on whether it's a better alternative to loot boxes or whatever. That's a whole different conversation that I am not qualified to answer.
Right. Right. But what about you, Justin? Did you have any games you want to talk about this year?
Oh, I thought we were still on Genshin Impact.
No, I don't want to spend this whole podcast talking about
I
Genshin
did-
because I could, but I
It's been a long
won't.
I know. I'll say quickly. I did spend some time on Genshin Impact as well, but I stopped because I realized I'd much rather watch other people play it than play it myself. Because the enemies just got too tanky after a while.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do all that DPS calculation. So
Oh yeah.
as for anime games that are actually made by Japan and not China that I played this year, I've already gone over 13 Sentinels before, so I won't dwell too much on that. Other than it's definitely one of my favorite games of all time now. Really love that game. As for anything else, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Finally
Ooh.
got to experience the Xenoblade
I'm
Chronicles
so glad. Yeah.
through something besides Let's Plays.
Good for
And
you, man.
It was.
You didn't have to
I
play it
spent-
on 3DS
Oh,
Me
God,
too.
yeah.
or Wii.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
So
I'm glad I
clunky.
waited for the Switch edition. That way, I can actually, see where I'm supposed to grind. Because yeah, that game is big and not always in the greatest of ways. To be honest, it's like a lot of the side quests are just fetch quests,
Mhm.
and the gameplay itself isn't the greatest because it's mostly like MMO like combat and such.
Mm.
But
But
I
yeah, it
just
had a lot of quality of life updates
Yeah,
with the definitive
yeah.
edition.
Yeah, and I love being able to equip armor while actually switching the costume so Shoke doesn't look stupid.
Mhm.
Or I could just make him wear the
Oh,
swimsuit all I want.
actually,
and secretly.
That was like a really nice quality of life feature that I didn't expect at all. The like whole changing your appearance.
Yeah, because I always found that when you equip the best armor, it looks a little stupid on some of the
Yeah, for
characters.
sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely a really great game. I'm glad I played. It took me a month to beat that game though, and then a little longer to beat the new future connected thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm really glad I played that, and also really love Final Fantasy VII remake. Loved all the improvements they've made on Final Fantasy over the years. Loved how all the different characters played. Loved the storytelling. The side quests were just okay. The moment where Cloud gets to dance, that is gold. That was gold. Really love that. And I'm liking Hades too, like everyone else, but I've only beaten one run of it, so no real opinion on that other than it's a good game. But everyone knows it's a good game at this point. And yeah, I tried my best to like get through like some of the Game of the Year candidates this year in between other stuff. Like I played Ghost of Tsushima, that was decent. Played Last of Us 2, that was less decent. But I did finish both of them. Decent swan songs to the PS4 lineup, I'd say. And I didn't get to playing the new Doom game. I did play Animal Crossing, but I'll leave that up to someone who played more than me. Hint, hint, wink, wink. To talk about that.
I played a
And
lot.
and other than that, when it came to like games that didn't come out this year, I played a bunch of horror games during October. Like holy crap! Finally got to play the Resident Evil 2 remake. And yeah, you guys are right. It was pretty good. Everyone who said it was like one of the best games Capcom came out with. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty good. Resident Evil 3 remake. It was just okay. wasn't great, but I didn't think it was horrible. And there and I finally got to check out Parasite Eve, and then found out, oh yeah, that's right, it's an early PS1 Square RPG. That means a lot of jank and a lot of like
Tank controls.
and like stupid instant kill stuff that you
Oh yeah, like quick time commands and stuff like that.
No, basically they put me into a chase scene that I was not prepared for, and if you lose it, you have to beat the final boss again.
Classic.
It doesn't save after you beat the final boss. I was like, really? And good luck finishing that chase scene without a guide, because or save states. Yeah. So if you ever play that game, play it on an emulator, because there's a lot of bullshit in there that they just don't tell you. Yeah,
Good old JRPGs.
yeah. Overall, though, I know people say 2020 is one of the best years for gaming and one of the best things in a really crappy year. So, but overall, yeah, I definitely see that. I definitely see that with a lot of the games that came out. But it's definitely something we've had to do more since going outside was sort of limited. But
Right.
definitely,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm definitely glad about with the video games I've played so far. I haven't played anything terrible from the big releases. Although to be fair, I did avoid some, and there's still so many that I have to get to that we'll discuss later. But for now, let's go. Let's talk. Let's see what our Animal Crossing expert has to say.
So, yeah, fun fact, this is actually the first Animal Crossing game I ever played. Believe it or not. My girlfriend was just super into it, and then she was like really excited when this one was coming out, and I was like, it's like a Sims, like friendship with animals game, but it turns out, especially with this one, you can really just build your whole island. You can customize everything, and then just with the like, I had friends from like high school and from college, and yes, they were all girls, but they were also like playing it and on my Switch friends, and I was able to see like, oh, hey, could I come over to your island and be like, oh, sure, let's like give you like this rare furniture or like seashells or like just whatever random crafting materials and stuff. And that was another part is the crafting. In previous games, I guess you could only like buy the different. It's mostly furniture and stuff, but now you can actually make it. You can make your own
Hmm.
tools and all that
I
stuff.
would also like to own property and furniture. I
Right.
think I would enjoy this
Oh my
game.
gosh.
But what
Like
but what
I've
but would you want to have to pay off like the
Ah,
raccoon?
true.
you do
Really, you
start the
can't
game with
escape
like a debt of
loans.
like 100,000 dollars.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've seen some pictures of like what people have made online as like modern houses and like all this stuff, and it's like that looks like I wish I could live there. Like cyberpunk
I
themed
saw an Earth
islands.
I saw an
Oh my
Earthbound
gosh.
one.
Yeah, people have made like entire like Tokyo, like downtown city looking
Hmm.
islands because you get like custom patterns too that you can make. Um, but yeah, I've really enjoyed Animal Crossing. I don't want to talk all
Yeah,
that much about it, but it's been cool.
speaking of your girlfriend really enjoying, I noticed that a lot of
Yes.
I know that a lot of my own female friends that who don't even play video games, they got that game just to play it because
Yeah.
pandemic time didn't help. And I also noticed that a lot of people's girlfriends also played the
Hmm.
game more than like Donkey's wife, Leia. I know she liked it more than him. Yahtzee's wife, she kept hogging his Switch to play Animal Crossing and and also yeah it's just like yeah I guess it has a
Yeah, I'm not
huge
an
female
expert
fan
on.
base then.
Yeah, I did took a gender studies 101 class in college, so actually I am an expert in why girls like certain games. No, I have no idea
No, no,
why it is,
no, you do
but
not. Gender 101 does not teach you that.
that's the extent of my knowledge on the subject. But I mean, yeah, it's just a fun kind of pastime because it doesn't like have after you pay off your debt and you build your house to the maximum size. There isn't technically like an end goal. It's just make your island however you want it to be. And there's been so many like content updates for every like holiday. Every month there's new bugs and fish and all kinds of stuff to get. So it's more like just like a passive. It does remind me in a couple of ways of like mobile games, even though that's not really a great comparison. But it's just like there's kind of daily stuff. Okay, let me check the shop what they're selling today. Let me check the
Well,
clothing
there is an
store. There's
Animal
something
Crossing
there.
mobile game too.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
There is a Pocket Camp or something.
Yeah, I think it's
I never
basically.
got into that one.
I think it's basically the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this is like a
With
more
microtransactions.
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh, that one does have. Oh gosh,
I
I'm
think
glad this
so.
one at least it's only all the DLC is free as far as I can tell for
Yeah.
this one. But it's just a definite like refinement of all the previous like Animal Crossing content and stuff. We're hoping
Awesome.
that they add some. Still, there's like some quality of life things like crafting multiple items at the same time. Would definitely be awesome if you could do that, and just like using crafting materials from your inventory or like from your like storage in your house. Even if you're not in your house, that would be nice. But
Hmm.
Yeah.
we'll see.
I don't know. It
Um,
seems like Nintendo's
hmm,
been pretty supportive of the game on a regular basis for updates.
yeah, I feel like this game has gotten more like just content, like literally almost monthly
Yeah,
updates than any of their
I
other.
think
Or,
I think it's already past ARMS in patches.
uh,
Yeah, it's true. It is. Although to be fair, like I think Arms is kind of a dead game these days.
Nah, that
Animal
was the
Crossing,
joke.
and Animal Crossing itself is
not
kind of
even
dying
adding,
too.
yeah,
Like
Min Min to Smash seemed to revital. I don't think there's any revitalizing arms.
I know, like I know
Yeah.
I
Steve.
liked
Yeah,
it.
Steve got. Well, I don't know if Steve was why Minecraft just got popular again, because
Oh,
because
so
Minecraft
I may have some more
just gets
insight into that
I
as
popular.
think
well.
it was VTubers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so on some other gosh, I got a lot of other games that I was playing this year. I at first I was having a hard time finding what else I played this year, but then when I was looking at it, it's like, well, it's actually only like 2 or 3 games, but I've just played so much of them. So it was the Fire Emblem Three Houses DLC also dropped like at the beginning of the year. That was kind of
Yeah, I remember
confusing
that.
because it was
Uh,
like the fourth house, but it turns out that was its own side story, like outside of everything else. But then when you beat that, you had the ability to recruit those the Ashen Wolves, 4 characters
yeah, that was
into any other main like
Oh, I didn't know
story.
that.
yeah, that was
Yeah,
weird.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
Everything was
finish it.
so
It
separate
didn't really, yeah, clarify
from
that
the
that
main
much.
plot. It's just like okay,
It's
we
its
got
own
their own
kind of side
story and now they're
story,
there.
yeah, which I feel like is kind of good in the sense that it was a more like finely tuned, so you can only go in with like 6 or 7 characters, and you can't like change or promote any of them. So you get like Dimitri and oh gosh, I can't even remember.
Edelgard and the deer guy,
Yeah, like
the upside
Claude.
down
Oliver,
deer guy. I'm kidding. I know it's
right?
Claude.
Claude, yeah. And then what was the Lindhart and these guys? But they like have their own kind of set roles. And whereas in the main game, you can pretty much like class customize any character to any of the classes, which is almost like unheard of for other Fire Emblem games.
Also, you can get although like some of the more modern Fire Emblems, you can get really overpowered unless you're
Yeah,
playing
and
on the
that was
hardest
kind of a
difficulty.
so that was kind of a complaint of. I mean, I don't think Three Houses all has that many like criticisms. There are definitely some valid criticisms. Like there's like
The
some
only way to
unrealistic
get OP
story
in Three
potential.
Houses really is just to keep new game plussing, pretty much,
Yeah.
And yeah,
which
but
is
yeah. So this
understandable.
hmm,
Yeah.
the DLC definitely like was a much more refined experience in that sense, and so I enjoyed it. Other games though, quickly, kind of. I got through Paper Mario Origami King. That was okay. They're trying to like recapture the original like Paper Mario. Apparently, the Paper Mario fans are like some of just the most like loud fans because they
Bobby,
just
Bobby, no!
yes,
As a
the
Paper
Bobby
Mario
singing.
fan, I
Oh
hated it.
yeah,
It was
like
okay. It was
they just
okay
keep
though.
changing the like the gimmick. That's definitely what it feels like each game, and the past few ones, Sticker Star
Sticker
and
Star,
the Color
Color
Splash have
Splash.
definitely like
Yeah.
gone off the rails. And this one they I feel like they try to bring it back to more of like what worked, but the thing that really works, the true like secret magic of, in my opinion, the Paper Mario series is like the characters and the uniqueness of their different stories and stuff. And when who was it? Someone, the higher up, someone will know about it. They're like, yeah, you actually cannot create new characters. You can only use or like modify any of the existing like Nintendo uh, cast of characters. You can't have like a dark uh, Toad or anything like that. You
Why?
just have
Okay,
to stick with like Mario, Luigi, Peach.
Oh yeah,
Um,
There's a
Oh,
caveat there.
if anyone remembers that.
Miyamoto.
that was Miyamoto.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he actually personally hates the series.
It does.
Well,
It feels
I
like
don't
it
think he hates it. He's just like we already had. He said at one interview, we already have a Mario and Luigi RPG series. We don't need to.
Well,
And
that
I'm
series
like,
is
that's
dead
different.
now. So
Yeah, that's different. I don't know if it's dead. I mean, we had the Superstar remake not too long ago for
well,
Switch.
what
And,
the
well,
company
not Switch,
the
the
company
3DS.
the company's dead. The company that
Mm.
makes the Mario and Luigi games has gone bankrupt, haven't they? They're dead now.
I thought they were a Nintendo
Legends
subsidiary that
of
makes them.
Arc.
No, I
Um,
think they're on their way to death.
Yeah.
Hmm. Well, at any rate, I
but
don't think
yeah,
they
that was a
will
game
throw
I
it out
played.
entirely.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
expect more from the
But yeah,
RPG
then I
series.
got the and it's interesting where it's gonna go. And just Nintendo in general, I feel like oof, this may be a bigger topic, but they have definitely just been shooting themselves in the foot, like both feet now. Their whole character like is Mario. He's supposed to jump really high, and he can't really do it anymore. And it's definitely like executive decisions for like we talked about this in a previous podcast, but like the canceling of the Smash tournaments, these
Hmm.
limited releases then of games as well. That's just like maybe someone in some boardroom executive was like, "Oh, we gotta protect the IP. We gotta, make these very like business decisions." And like the Nintendo ninjas that are like really like tracking down people that are like modding the Switch. And I've heard some stories about that. They're like literally stalking like modders and stuff. They have this one guy. They had like his whole day planned out to like find the best time to like track him down. It was crazy, and they're just
Wow.
like going way too much to the extreme for the people that like honestly love their games the most are getting shit on. It feels like, um,
Yeah.
but I don't know. But anyway, some other games I played was the Pokemon DLC, and it's just like, oh, okay, cool. It's a bunch of legendary Pokemon, but it's not really like a continuation of the like original plot, if there even was much of one in Sword and Shield. It's just like, oh, okay, but it's I'm hopeful for maybe more that we may get more from Pokemon this year. They really seem to be hyping up. There's like a Pokemon New Year's Day stream thing, and we may get in remakes or something else, but they're kind of on shaky ground than just in general. And I feel like if the next game isn't like a big hit, then a lot of the fans that have been staying through um, the years with like the issues with the Dexit and you can't have all the Pokemon in the games anymore. Like if they don't find a way to appease everyone somehow, then it may just be getting even worse, going even further downhill.
Yeah, I seen a
Ugh.
bit of that DLC, and it wasn't. The first one was not great from what I saw. It was basically really It was really repetitive with like what was the Diglett stuff or whatever.
Yeah, and then the second one has even more of that. Then there's even you got to track down like
Really?
50 footprints of these other legendary Pokemon, and it's just
At
like
least,
it does
at
feel
least the
like they're
second one
kind of
had.
running out of ideas.
At least the
But
second
there
one
were
had
some cool
legendary
ideas.
Pokemon.
The part where you're tracking down the legendary birds, like it gets the closest to like, oh wow, that was actually kind of cool. You actually had to like chase them around the world, but
Mm.
it's just like uh, when you're going around the world, you're just like reminded of like, oh, it's not that great of a world, and you're seeing like all the other Pokemon like pop in and pop out, and it's just they the Pokemon Company was like really good at making games on the DS and the 3DS, and it just feels like their skills haven't really necessarily, even though the tech has gotten better, it feels like they're kind of still stuck in that era. The character animations, the all that stuff. It just feels like they themselves need to advance and mature. But we'll see.
I mean, again, this is their first quote unquote full 3D game.
Hmm.
So,
On the Switch,
yeah.
in a sense, because well,
Yeah.
there was like a Coliseum and XD on the GameCube, but
That was
that
a
was
different
actually
company.
by
That wasn't very good though.
Intelligent
I
Systems.
disagree. I
Yeah,
thought it
Oh,
was
I
good.
yeah.
I played them.
It was
But
like
remember,
definitely
you
a
just
more dark take, and
I
I feel like Pokemon kind of hasn't gone back to that
I would
dark
definitely put those in front of Sword and
roots.
Shield personally.
Yeah, the story, I would agree.
Um,
Story wise, yeah, the gameplay is really dated though.
Oh, I
uh,
mean, yeah, I wouldn't go back
Like,
to
it's
I mean, it was
like
dated
Orange
back
Hill.
then.
technically their first 3D was X and Y, and that was a smash hit, right?
yeah, it was. Well,
Yeah.
I
actually, no,
think
wait. I
so,
thought Black and
yeah.
White was. I thought Black. I must confuse it for
No,
Black and
Black
White.
and White's a fan favorite.
Black
X
and
and Y
white are
was
like,
hated.
yeah, the black sheep, in a sense, black and white sheep almost of the
Yeah.
series. Gen
Really, I thought
5.
people loved. I thought people loved the Black and White
They
games, and
do
X and
now,
Y
but
would be.
when they first came out, Gen 5 black and white was definitely panned by critics
Oh,
because, oh, as it turns out, you couldn't catch any of the Pokemon from previous games until you beat the story, and even then it was like very limited. And it turns out like, oh, same thing with Sword and Shield. You get rid of half of the decks, and people complain, and they're like, "Oh wow, this is really surprising. We don't have Pikachu anymore," and then people are sad. I can't.
Actually,
That's,
well, I'm pretty sure
that's like, I
Pikachu
think
was in
Pikachu
there.
was in it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like so. In my opinion, you don't necessarily have to be able to catch every single. There's like almost 1,000 now, but the fact that you couldn't bring them in any capacity and battle with them, and even with like the whole Pokemon Home and there's all these other third party or not third party, but like other additions to kind of bring all of them, even from Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Now you can bring in, but then they're
Yeah.
like, well, no, you still can't
It's
battle with them on the big screen.
I think that was
Like,
the main complaint for a lot of people is that they promoted Pokemon Home and the Pokebank and all these additional
mm.
membership-oriented softwares to keep your Pokemon
Oh
saved,
yeah, that are
and
subscription
then
based.
they
You
Yeah.
have to be
they're
paying for them.
subscription
Yeah.
based, and then
I
they
still
didn't
have
follow
them.
through with any of them. And that was
Uh,
a lot of people's gripes is that,
yeah.
they've been keeping those Pokemon that they've had, most of their childhood that they've been transferring through the games, and now they have to cut it cold turkey there.
Yeah. I still got
Mm.
a Pokemon from Gen 2 that I've been carrying for almost 20 years. And I'm like, I
Oh
just want
wow.
my Houndoom.
Yeah. Um, yeah, there's a lot I could
Yeah.
talk about Pokemon, and I'll definitely be following it when wherever it goes. Then I guess this year, for good or bad. But
Hey, you don't have to suffer
something I
through
wanted
that
to
on
touch
our
on that
account.
kind of.
Yeah, really
Oh
don't.
yeah, I mean, not. We'll see for the podcast. But so interesting note or like trend I picked up on then was games that in a way tried to patch the story of the original. So I want to talk briefly without spoiling like too heavily, but Half-Life Alex and then Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity, the new like Breath of the Wild prequel. They both did things with their story that kind of not invalidated, but like basically patched or changed the endings of well, Half-Life 2 and then of Age of Calamity in a sense, with time travel and shenanigans. And I don't know. I guess it's like we're waiting to see where it goes with this, where Half-Life 3, if that ever even comes out, and then Breath of the Wild 2, where that even goes. But I don't know. I kind of have an issue in that it's like the writers are like, oh, actually, people didn't really like these character deaths. Basically, let's just
Mhm.
make them alive again. Let's just like not have the sadness of your favorite characters
Valve
dying.
was like,
And
this is why there
yeah,
can't be Half-Life 3.
yeah, like I don't know. And it just someone brought it up. I think it was some video that I was watching that is like Nintendo is saying that they don't want their games to have death and to deal with these dark topics and stuff. Even with Zelda, I forgot if that was like some interview or just some like hot take that someone
Wait.
was having.
That's
Um,
weird. Because
but
like
it makes me think of the older Zelda games and like Majora's Mask and stuff that like constantly had
Yeah, a
death
lot
and
of dark
grieving
themes.
and a lot
yeah.
of yeah, even Twilight Princess, and there's like a
What?
lot of even in the Zelda series that deals with heavy topics and
Mhm.
genocide even and stuff like that. And then now in these games they're like, oh no, your favorite character died. Oh well, we'll bring him back to life with time travel. There you go, they're back. And it's like it feels like they're just babying us even further, and I don't really like it. But if there's some like really story reason that we really needed like maybe, but I feel like it's a bit of a crutch that writers shouldn't
I
be
think
able to like patch change the story after it's
mhm.
happened,
Yeah,
in my
so
opinion.
not really retcon it. But that's a good topic because when you think of like Nintendo games, like Fire Emblem does deal with death all the
Oh,
time.
Mhm.
Death of your party, death to the enemies. So for them to start retconning, that's a little bit weird to me.
Death to your time.
Yeah.
too. I remember one note from Three Houses in particular. The first time that you bring your students out into like a fight against actual like bandits or something that's not just like a training exercise, after what was it like after a character kills someone for the first time, they each have like a unique dialogue, like, "Oh wow, I didn't think we would actually do that," or
Yeah, I
some of them
remember
was like,
that.
"Oh, that was a lot of fun. But point me at the next guy." And that's like, but some was like, it just adds a lot more like depth to the
Yeah,
individual characteristics of them, and point out like, yeah, this is the real world. Like you're actually gonna have to
ironically,
kill people or you're gonna die.
that was like the edgiest. That's definitely the edgiest Fire Emblem they've written, or the darkest, if you want to put it that way. Um, Easily, like, well, yeah,
Mm,
for the most
Uh,
part, yeah. I would say,
well,
I would
Danganronpa.
say
Dawn was
Radiant.
one.
I would say Radiant Dawn, and those games were pretty dark. But I would say this one tackles was much more ambitious in the issues it tackled, and out of any
Yeah,
Fire Emblem I played, period.
definitely.
Because
Like your allies can become, yeah, the enemies just after.
I
Oh
mean,
gosh, and they're like your students too, and you develop such a like bond with them, and then some of them, even if they're like in, even if you recruited them, brought them over to your house, like for some characters in particular, they just with their family ties or whatever, they'll still
mhm,
like end up on an opposing team after the time skip.
yeah,
Um, this is like
because
you may be able to recruit them back, and you may not be able to.
a lot of
Yeah.
games tippy toe around like religion, politics, youth, and killing people. And Three Houses really didn't pull any punches when it came to that. I felt, and I thought that was a really interesting take. I don't know who written that. I don't know if it was Intelligent Systems or
I think it's
Koei
Intelligent
Tecmo,
System.
but I don't know. I'll say Koei Tecmo. I've lost a lot of faith in Intelligent Systems over the years.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I get where you're going with that. It is kind of weird because they've kind of dropped so many darker titles recently for them to do that kind of 180.
Yeah. Oh, Corey. It
Yeah,
was
so we'll
actually
see.
both Intelligent Systems and Koei Tecmo.
Yeah, I think Koei Tecmo just made some script changes while they were out, probably.
It's possible. But yeah, then the last game I've actually just been playing recently in December here is Minecraft again online. We got a server with some of the other guys in the Discord then, and it's just I haven't played since the Nether update. They
Oh
added a bunch
wow.
more stuff to the Hell dimension basically, and it's been fun. It's always a blast when you're playing with like other people and like everyone's kind of at different levels of like knowledge about the game. Like some it's like their first time playing, and then others like, well, I played like 2 updates ago. What are these new like
Hmm.
villager? What are they doing now? And so and there's stuff even I don't know about, so I gotta like look up how to do it. Um, but it's fun. It's a outlet to be
Right.
creative and have adventures with some other people that you may or may not really know online. That's about it. Uh,
All right, Jamar, it's
yeah,
finally your turn.
All
yeah.
right.
What have you been up to?
I think last year was the year of RPGs for me because I went through Persona 5 Royal, played Final Fantasy 14 with Corey and the team, and a lot of Danganronpa because you can't have 2020 without child killing. But
There you go.
I think on Persona 5 Royal, I think that was a good update to the original game where it was enough to warrant 2 playthroughs. They did a lot of script and which quality of life changes to it where you can actually progress faster and you could finish dungeons in 1 to 2 days if you wanted to.
Well, you could do
So,
that. Well, you could do that in the first game too.
but yeah, but you had to make sure you had enough stuff for MP,
Uh,
I mean SP, and
yeah.
it was a lot harder. I mean, I did it, but this time around they give you extra boosts. They give you certain items where you can recover, so you can play through the dungeons and then live like a high school kid because that's the important part of those games. What else? Like Danganronpa, I'm actually almost done with the whole series. I'm just wrapping up 3 right now.
Mhm.
So really good series. I never got into visual novels. Like I might play with 1 and 2 people, but the writing of Danganronpa was actually pretty good for its time. And yeah,
I love the Danganronpa series.
yep.
And really good. Can't And yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they'll make another one though, because I really do. I feel like with V3 they kind of like expended all their good ideas.
Well, that and
So
the original creator left along with a lot of the team,
Yeah, that too.
so he doesn't have the IP anymore. It'd be up to Spike Chunsoft to try to milk it.
yes,
Okay, yeah.
so they are planning to do another series because they just had a podcast on the anniversary. So there is inclinations of a new series. It will probably be like outside of the universe because they pretty much wrapped up that trilogy of games. So that'll be interesting in what they
Yeah.
actually do for the next one.
Cool.
Mhm.
And played a lot of old school Genesis games. I got like the itch for some reason, wanted to play like original Sonic, Sonic 3, and China Force. So that kind of wrapped up my year last year as far as video games.
Yeah.
Sounds like a pretty
Yeah.
fulfilling year. No Sonic
Yeah.
06? Did that make the cut?
He said, "Oh, Genesis games, not."
I
Oh,
know, but
Saturn
maybe
games.
tie it in somehow.
Sonic died in '97 for me.
Yeah, he
Oh,
really
dang.
did.
I heard the Sonic movie sequel is maybe coming
Yeah.
out
Yep, it
at some
probably will,
point
yeah.
in the future with Knuckles. That's all they have to name it. It's just Sonic the
With
movie
Knuckles.
and Knuckles, and
That's all you
Yeah.
need.
that'd be great.
You
That's
can
all you
attach,
need.
you can attach and Knuckles to anything at this point.
Yeah. I hope it's a Boom design Knuckles where he's just like swole as hell.
Oh my
Oh
gosh,
yeah,
And
Paper
dumb.
Mario and Knuckles.
Yeah. But
they got him in Smash, Bros, so it can be Smash Bros and Knuckles.
I also kind of
Well,
wanted to gloss over some expectations for games in 2021.
okay,
Um
but first, shout out, a little bit of a quick shout out to all the multiplayer games that also kept us sane. That also kept us sane throughout
oh
2021.
yeah, for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Phasmophobia.
Thanks Fortnite.
I know Rust is really popular right now. All that stuff. Yes, we know about them. Moving. All right, Corey. Next topic, please.
Okay. But yeah, like so the kind of wanted to go over a little bit on the not too much Cyberpunk because we've kind of beaten that down, but they have been putting out some more patches, actually quite a lot. They put out like 7 patches so far. We're at like version 1.07. So I'm just kind of wondering like, will this be the next No Man's Sky?
Yes.
It will
Will
be, but
they
you also
pay
have to
back?
remember.
I'm
You also have
split.
to remember that No Man's Sky was it's like that was made by like technically an independent like team who are like
The Hello Games.
Well,
Yeah.
not like
Yeah.
who are attached to somebody who forced them to get the original game out early.
Yeah,
and the bonus
Sony.
content.
So
Yeah.
And there's also a core difference between the two games in that No Man's Sky didn't really launch really buggy, and that they didn't really have to fix anything. Well, I'm not gonna say anything, but they didn't have to fix most of the things. It's just that a lot of promises were made and they just weren't there. Whereas with
No.
Cyberpunk, yes, like most things, a lot of things are broken in Cyberpunk, and the promise was made that you could actually play it on last gen, but you can't. So, well, you can't reasonably play it.
Yeah.
So, they have a lot of groundwork to do to make it runnable on the PS4 and Xbox One, or scrap it altogether. I'm not sure what plans they have for it, but there's going to be a lot of optimization patches for sure.
Yeah.
Like I want it to get better, but at the same time, I part of me doesn't, because I don't want it to be like a example for the industry because of just how awfully the like programmers and everyone was like treated and all the crunch and stuff.
Yeah.
That's where I'm split, because if it does do well, if it like does win Game of the Year 2021, or I don't know, you get a bunch of awards and stuff. Basically, I don't want other development like companies to look at it and be like, oh well, they crunched and made it all work and it sold whatever revenue.
It won't win
That's
any awards. I don't think so.
I think that we're kind of past that though. It's just the
Yeah.
all the
I mean, they
negative
Who
they
knows?
that came
still
out, but we'll see.
With 2021 is the year where we'll probably start seeing like the games affected by COVID the most, the games that were actually delayed.
Yeah,
So
the
yeah,
developments
there'll
cycles.
be a lack of games.
Mm-hmm. But I think the damage has been done though. Like whether or not they make the big fixes to Cyberpunk, I think the uh, the publisher, which I think is Warner,
Correct.
and you know the executives at CD Projekt Red are like, we are never doing that again because that hurt them bad. Like their stocks dove,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
and
over
like all the
25%.
bad press. I mean,
Uh,
reputation's hard to rebuild, really
Yeah.
hard.
Yes, it is. Yes,
And
what happened with No
unfortunately,
Man's Sky was a miracle, to be honest.
Yeah,
yeah.
but
Yeah, but again, Project Red is a AAA studio. It's not a Hello
yeah,
game.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
the thing. That's the other
Yeah,
thing that worries me
yeah.
about that.
And unfortunately, they will have to fix the game because, like you said, their reputation's on the line.
mm-hmm.
And the
Oh, yeah.
same way Nintendo protect Mario and their IPs, CG Project Red has to protect this game because they won't be able to develop anything else fully until this moves over. Because
That's what I was thinking. Like we were talking about Witcher earlier, and if they're ever planning to make a Witcher 4, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh wait, you're the Cyberpunk guys. Like, why would we ever want to pre-order The Witcher 4 or anything like that?" The
Yeah,
same thing kind of with like
yeah,
Let's not
Bethesda or
forget
Beth.
that on initial launch, Witcher
Um,
3 ran like a bastard
oh, it
on
was awful.
consoles.
yeah, apparently the more I'm finding out about these guys, I
yeah.
don't know.
But they
CD
usually
But
Projekt
clean
Red.
up. So
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
they
Just if they put a little more polish and maybe a couple more months, maybe it wouldn't have been as bad.
yeah. Um, Also wanted to bring up games that since you talked about it, Justin, games that are getting delayed, and we're gonna start to see that really hit this year. Um, Halo Infinite, the the original launch title for the Series X,
Oof.
Oh boy.
Infinitely
Yeah, I
the
don't play Halo, so I wouldn't know
Infinite
much about
delay.
it.
Yeah.
I've played
Uh,
a couple, like, gosh, back
yeah,
in high school.
yeah.
My brother was a lot better than
I'll,
me at shooter games,
I'll
but
let you weigh in on that,
yeah.
Jamar, because no opinion for me here.
Yeah. I was a big Halo fan until Bungie left and 343 Industries took over. And since then
Yeah,
it's kind of been crap.
yeah, I'm about the same
So
boat.
they've been trying to kind of build back to those pre 343 days. So when they had that preview off Infinite and it tanked, they're like, we have to rebuild it. Um I'm pretty sure it's gonna be good, but I wouldn't be surprised if they delay it again because they need this title. Microsoft needs this title to land.
Yeah,
343 needs this game to be like Halo 1 was for the Xbox.
I really doubt it, but we'll
But
see.
yeah,
It'll be something to see. I think for me, the last good one was Reach, but even then,
yep.
Reach was like, oh yeah, it didn't have the spark 3 did, but yeah, we'll see. Hopefully they can make a comeback with Halo because I mean, even though I'm not really hard into the series anymore like I used to be, I would really like to see it make a comeback. Um, and
Same
so
here.
and you talked about it a little bit, Nick, but Breath of the Wild 2, we're gonna see some story changes there, and
Mm.
I would peg that for winter. Personally, I think it's gonna be ready for winter release.
At the very
It
least.
might be, but the hot take is that there may be like that Nintendo is secretly working on some sort of Switch Pro or Switch 2 or something like that, or Switch U,
Well, yeah,
really.
but
Yeah.
And
Nintendo, go
if
ahead.
anything, like the Breath of the Wild sequel may be coming out on that. Just
Well, the
who
thing
knows
is
what that's gonna be. But
about
yeah.
the Pro is, well, knowing Nintendo, if they do come out with a Switch Pro, which it's heavily speculated they will, they're gonna make it run on both, and they're gonna
That's what I was
do a
gonna
similar
say. Yeah.
situation to the 3DS XL, or what they call it, the new 3DS XL or the new 3DS,
The new
where
3D, not confusing
um
at all.
Yeah, so they're going to do a similar thing where there's probably going to be a better processor and graphics on the new Switch. So I think if that does happen, Breath of the Wild will probably be 30 frames per second, 1080p locked on the original, whereas you'll get 60 frames per second, 1080p, or like a high performance mode on the new Switch, which will be 30 frames, but it'll be like whatever 1440p probably. I can't see it going any higher than 1440p personally.
We'll
but,
see. Yeah, it's still gonna
um,
have like the undocked mode. Yeah. who knows?
Yeah, it's gonna have to have the undocked mode as well. But that's a lot of tech speculation. Overall, I still think they'll aim for Q4 this year because I mean, at the same
That'd be
time,
awesome.
Nintendo has so many subsidiary studios within that are like Breath of the Wild came out at this point over 3 years ago, so that's around the.
Gosh, 3 or
I would
4, yeah.
imagine. I would imagine they're nearing the end of the development cycle for it. Even though they did put out quite a bit of DLC for Breath of the Wild, I would say they're coming. They're coming pretty close. Because we saw a lot. It's going to be a lot of the same assets too, because we're still working in the same world.
Yeah, same characters and stuff.
So this is a unique situation where there's not been many Zelda games that continue where the other one left off. I'm trying to remember any. The only ones I think I can remember are
Only
like
one
the
that-
Spirit Tracks
yeah, Majora's
series.
Mask.
And,
Oh, Majora's
And
Mask,
Spirit
yeah.
Tracks over.
No, I was saying
Yeah.
Phantom Hourglass. That
Yeah,
was
it's Phantom Hourglass and
Yeah.
Spirit Tracks were
yeah,
the
those are
two.
the same models and stuff.
technically Zelda 2, but
Yeah.
but that was just the same Link, but it wasn't the same Zelda.
Yeah.
That was weird.
But yeah,
that was
essentially,
No, this
weird.
is like kind
They
of like
had
the
no idea
first
what
true
they were doing.
sequel.
yeah, I
And to
don't
me-
think.
Oh, actually, fun fact: Twilight Princess uses the same engine as Wind Waker. I think I remember hearing.
That
So
makes
it's like totally different art style and everything, but I feel like I remember hearing that somewhere.
makes some
recently.
sense. I'm sure Skyward Sword does too, because it looks like shit on Wii.
Oh god, yeah. Skyward Sword looked
Yeah, I want to
awful.
say that was also same sort of something.
I mean, the
But
Wii
maybe
wasn't
that
very-
will get a update with like the 31st.
Yeah,
Zelda
I think there's gonna be a
anniversary too.
remake.
If we're doing like game speculation,
limited release of
if they make it
Majora's
a same
Mask.
sort of limited release. Oh man, gosh, watch it like also go away on March 31st. Like, why is it always March 31st? Like,
I'll take it back. It's gonna be a remaster. They won't build it from the ground up. They're too lazy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Mario one was
More Bloom
Desolation,
effect.
wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
all of them were remasters.
Yeah, I'm fine with new Bloom effects. It's still a decent looking game after almost 4 years. Just bump up the frame rate.
Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
Yeah, I think we have another
No-
game of the year.
No motion controls. Perfect. Thank you. Keep it that way.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, motion controls came out during a time before we realized they were not a good idea.
Also, will Platinum ever release Bayonetta 3?
Who knows?
Tune in next time. We'll to find out.
There's just been like
On
no
Platinum
updates.
Z.
Yeah.
Platinum's got a
There's
lot on their
that,
plate.
And then, gosh, Metroid Prime 4, that they got a new like developer or someone that's like.
Oh yeah, that
does
was a
mean
while
they're, like,
back, but
starting
yeah,
at, like square one, or just, who knows? I
yeah.
feel like Metroid Prime, they got a lot of like story if they want to make it a good.
Oh,
game of the year or
definitely.
something
They
like
could
that.
dive deep in Metroid lore. There's a lot to
There's
work with.
just so much, yeah.
It's just
after
Japan
the
doesn't really care
correction.
for it. Is usually why it kind of gets the short end of the stick there.
Mm.
Is it's more of a Western title. Well, it's more
perhaps, yeah.
successful in the West. It doesn't really sell many copies in Japan, is why they kind of shafted a lot.
Yeah, and with the not so great reception of Metroid Other M, of course.
Could be worse though. Could be
they
F-Zero.
learned their lesson and stick with like what made the first 3 Prime games good, and not
Yeah,
was like Prime Federation Force. Oh my gosh.
yeah. I didn't really like that
Yeah,
either.
That game does not exist.
I'm so sorry for even mentioning it. Please wipe that out of the delete that from the thing.
Please edit that.
Yeah, that part out. I'm sorry.
Also, Dying Light 2. I'm looking forward to that, but it's been like delayed by Deep Silver, I think is the one who produces or develops that. And I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure Deep Silver is still under THQ. But
I think so. Like that. Like those are the guys who made the Saints Row games, right?
I'm pretty positive they used to. Saints Row is a kind of an interesting example because I know it changed hands a couple times.
Yeah.
Also, Corey, it's Techland that is doing Dying Light 2.
Oh, right. Techland
Yeah.
did the first game as well, and Deep Silver I think is the publisher.
Mhm.
Oh no, they're self-publishing this one.
Oh wow, huh? Maybe that's why it's taking so long to come out.
Possibly.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that because Dying Light's just a really fun game. I think it's easily one of the most ambitious, if not the most ambitious zombie game I've ever played. So I'm really looking forward to that. We kind of already talked about Pokemon quite a bit, and hopefully the next Pokemon games that come out,
Not just the same
yeah,
thing.
aren't the same regurgitated
Yeah,
material they've
no
been
idea.
doing for the past 20, 30 years.
Yeah, I know that. I mean, that is how they get. That is how they get the audience and all the Pokemon spin-off games for the most part. Oh, who's looking forward to Pokemon Snap 2?
I am
Yeah,
actually
it'd be fun, but it's
Yeah.
again just not really like
only good
my cup
Pokemon
of tea.
series.
Yeah, it should be pretty fun though.
Uh,
So you mentioned it, or actually, I don't know if you mentioned Bug Snacks earlier, Corey.
oh,
Um,
I didn't mention Bug Snacks,
We
but
don't talk about Bug Snacks because no one remembers Bug Snacks
I
now.
remember it.
so for the best release game of the PS5, Bug Snacks.
It's not Demon Souls remake. It's Bug Snacks.
So I had this like definitely in terms of like bringing back to Pokemon, if Pokemon could do something more like that, where for all of like it was kind of not a very long game, Bugsnax and like kind of silly and all that, but if Pokemon could sort of take some sort of like approach like that, whereas like there was much more interaction with the creatures, with the
Yeah,
Bugsnax,
it's
and a
kind
lot of
of
people were saying like, oh wow, if this was like Pokemon, that would be really cool.
yeah.
Like actually
I could
catching
see
them based
that.
off like the types and stuff. And it was like kind of open world, and you could just go wherever, and you didn't have to go into like the oh, you run into one, and then it's like the turn-based battle
Yeah,
starts. You know, sort of takes you out of the
Yeah,
immersion. But
it's kind of
I don't
the
know.
thing with Pokemon is that there's so many moves and it's hard to really program. You can't dodge like you can in the anime.
Mhm.
It's like
yeah.
If they would
because
get away
it would be
from
really
that
hard to
core,
program.
yeah, system,
It'd be hard.
I think they would
I
have
wouldn't say
damned if
to.
they do, damned if
Yeah.
they don't, sort of like
Yeah,
for changing up the main formula,
yeah.
in my opinion.
I mean, I wouldn't say it would be hard to program. It's just gonna take effort. And
Yeah,
unfortunately, if Game Freak, the ones that usually do the games,
Asking Game Freak
does
to put in effort.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly. Because they kind
Yeah.
of do the same animation from
Yeah.
'96 to now, where Pikachu use tail wag, and he or she Pikachu. I'm not going to put a gender title on it.
I mean, you can
Doesn't
tell the
actually.
gender by the tails.
That's true. But if they don't interact with the fighting other opposing Pokemon, like we're in 2020, it's not the Game Boy anymore.
but it's like
yeah.
they've done it in the past
Um,
even. So Pokemon Battle Revolution, a game that like a lot of people forget, they actually had
Because
them
most people
going
didn't
like
like it very
that's
much.
true. But they did have like the for the physical attacks, you'd have your Pokemon go up and like you'd actually punch the other guy
Yeah.
and they'd like be knocked back. But then all future games like, oh no, that's too violent. We can't show Pikachu getting smacked up in the face like with a punch attack. Like we just have to like
To be
show him
fair,
throw off the
to be
punch
fair,
and
that is
then like
better animation than
yeah.
the Digimon games. I don't know if you ever played Digimon Cyber Sleuth, but those attacks
No.
did not look like
I
yeah.
heard the one Digimon game is like really good, but it wasn't localized. Maybe that was Cyber Sleuth.
No,
Uh,
Cyber Sleuth's here.
No, Cyber
Both of
Sleuth
them.
is localized.
what? I don't remember the name of the one, but yeah.
It's okay if you're a Digimon fan, but that's a different topic entirely.
Yeah, I think if they were gonna do something similar to Bugsnax, overall they would need to kind of throw it back to like a Hey You Pikachu mix with Pokemon
Mm.
Snap, and then I think that would have worked best. Um, Something like that, or maybe like Pokemon Channel. That was also really interactive with the Pokemon world, and I don't remember if Game Freak did that one or not. They could always just actually I think HAL Labs did it. I think.
That sounds right. Yeah, for
Um,
the game.
I would say something like Bugsnax would probably be outsourced. I can't see or not really outsourced, but it would still be like in-house. But I
Right,
don't
it's some
think
sort
Game
of
Freak would
third-party
do
development.
it. Yeah, I don't think Game Freak would do it, but we'll see. That's something to look forward to. Um, and I wanted to kind of dig a little bit into open worlds, but we are kind of running pretty
Yeah,
late
we
on this
are.
podcast. I thought we were just gonna kind of talk about what we did this year and it'd be really quick, but apparently we all did a lot of things this year, which is good.
Well,
Or
it
last
sounds
year.
like the Pokemon discussion went on quite a while.
Yeah. Pokemon's a big demon.
Yes,
But
yes.
how about we talk about a little bit of the anime we watched? That's something we do, right? We watch anime.
I think I'm
I
gonna
think it's in the
stop this
name.
year because this year was kind of sort of the opposite. Like if video games shine this year, anime. I will say this: there are quite a few anime originals that came out this year that people really liked. But I personally found them to be a mixed bag. So we got like ID Invaded. I know a lot of people like that.
Oh yeah, I remember that being talked about. That's the
I found it to be kind of. It's
it's
okay.
like the digital world one, right? Sort
Yeah,
of.
it's kind of like AI the Somnium Files. Only
Um
they don't really give you a lot of characterization.
like Summer Wars.
No, it's more AI.
Oh, okay.
Or Inception, I guess. Than
All right, I gotcha. I'm on the same page.
Yeah, and there's Decadence, that anime by the Mob Psycho guys.
Yeah, I dropped
That
that pretty quick.
I thought that a lot of people seem to really like that show. I thought it was on autopilot the entire time.
I heard it
Oh, it
started
totally
out
was.
strong, but then it didn't, follow through.
Yeah, that was pretty much
Yeah.
my thought on it. It had a cool world, but the story was like really predictable.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if any of you guys liked it though. So
It's on my list. I saw the first episode, but from what I heard from some other reviewers, like it just doesn't
Yeah.
keep up with
Yeah.
the story as
Well,
you're talking about.
I
I
didn't
finished
finish.
it.
so did
So-
I.
I mean, the plot is as thick as a thin crust pizza.
Mhm.
Like after episode 3, it does get predictable, and there's no real character development after.
Right.
It's just like they're just trying to finish the series.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like I've been saying most of our episodes, I didn't watch a lot. I just watched Interspecies Reviewers, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah. Interspecies
Uh,
Reviewer is so funny.
I really
Yeah.
hope we see. So okay, so this will be my 2021 forward expectations for anime. Is if they make an ecchi anime, please make it more parody or make it like use the ecchi to be able to make jokes you couldn't normally make. And I think that's what made Interspecies Reviewers so great, is because, most of the time the ecchi is just used for borderline H scenes, but Interspecies Reviewers actually just used it to like
Borderline, was it?
oh, there was borderline there was like quite a bit of racy material there. But
Racy material that caused Funimation to drop the show.
pun not intended there, but yeah, I just liked how it didn't take itself seriously at all, and most of the time ecchi anime doesn't take itself seriously, but it's so oriented. Like the prime example would be like how far High School DxD went downhill after the first season. Yeah, it just got worse and worse and worse. Yeah. And then you have like what's another bad one?
There was one that came out this year that kind of started promising, and just ended up being shit. I don't remember I think it was like it was like Dokyu Eros or something. It was like a Power Rangers
Oh,
parody.
okay. I think I know what you're talking about. I remember seeing promos for it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It aired in the same season as Decadence and Rent a Girlfriend and Got a High School.
Yeah.
And it was pretty crap.
Yeah, but that's my expectation for ecchi anime going forward.
Mhm.
I also watched Rising of Shield Hero finally, so that was something I actually really enjoyed it. I didn't expect I'd like it that much because it just kind of looked like another isekai to me. And I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I'm hoping.
I no longer hear the term isekai without going, yeah, not watching that anymore.
Yeah, that's basically how I saw it. I'm like, look, I've been there, done that. I don't want to watch another isekai, and then my friend's like, no, watch it, and then he just made me sit down and watch VRV.
No.
We sat down and watched VRV, and we mowed it down. But it was good. I enjoyed it. I hope to see season 3 in 2021, I think.
What were the popular isekai this year? There was the finale to Sword Art Online.
Ofuri, I think.
Allocation. Yeah, Bofuri is more like video game. They're playing a virtual reality.
Same.
I know that's the same thing now. Apparently,
We have
There
to
was- there was
qualify
some
them.
there's some unpopular.
The Villainess one.
Yes, there was the Villainess one. That was definitely an isekai, and of course there was ReZero coming back.
ReZero.
Which
Yeah.
which I did not. Sorry to all the ReZero fans, but I tried to watch the first episode, and no, the show is just not for me. I just cannot sit through a single second without getting annoyed at Subaru's dumb face.
That's reasonable. Outside of that, I've been watching Jujutsu Kaisen, and I'm pretty impressed with it. I've actually enjoyed it a lot.
The next big Shonen Jump anime.
Yeah,
The one that people want to be the next Demon Slayer, but it never will be.
Mappa's been doing a good job on that. It is Mappa, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, they've been doing a great job on that. I like the opening, and just I'm not crazy about the main character or anything, but he's not like so bland that I'm just completely disconnected from the series. So that's always good. It seems hard for Shonen to write a really interesting main character because
Well, I mean, the Shonen Jump heroes usually these days, actually, always they alternate between interesting or being memey.
Yeah.
Like Soma from Food Wars. Like most people know him for being as a god, but story wise, he doesn't go through a lot of character development and all that.
I guess he's the main character for Kaisen's more to sort of in the same category as like Deku, where he has like really heavy principles that guide him.
Yeah, he hasn't really changed a lot. He did
Yeah.
get challenged a bit with
He's
the
slow
purpose
growth.
work.
Yeah, slow growth, but we'll see it maybe.
I will say though, the most recent arc revolving around the bullying and I forget the villain's name I thought it was kind of weak. I was like mostly because I really did not like that. I really did not like that kid.
Yeah.
Like his characterization was I'm a victim of bullying and that was it. Like literally it. And then
It went a little too fast.
And then he doesn't like his friendship with Yuji, the main character, only lasts like an episode before he and of course he turns evil.
Yeah, we saw it coming.
And it's like you could see it coming from a mile away. It was not the it was like I guess the villain was cool, but I get that it's supposed to give some growth in Yuji, but I'm really hoping that the next arc, I know that the supporting cast will come back in that arc. I'm really hoping it really boosts it up because I thought it was just too predictable.
We've been building up that tournament arc for like 5 episodes, and I'm like, come on, let's go. Let's go, come on.
Obviously, you have to give some growth to Yuji first, like really challenge him, introduce this villain who's supposed to be like very personable to him.
He can develop in the tournament, throw his ass in the ring.
Well, that would make sense because this villain is like, it's Jujutsu Kaisen you might as well throw a tournament arc in Demon Slayer if you're going to go that far.
I mean, they kind of did. It was just really short.
Oh, yes, right.
It was just like their version of the tuning exams in the beginning, and then it was literally like an episode, right? Like one episode. Two, maybe.
Two, really.
It's
like an episode and a half.
You get the montage and you get the exams, but yeah.
Yeah, I do really love the animation on Jujutsu Kaisen though.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I don't think I know it's by the same people who made the God of High School anime, and it's like they're not missing at least when it comes to being visually pleasing. And I know Jujutsu Kaisen is the most popular anime on MAO and most popular anime of the year probably. It's probably going to win anime of the year at the Crunchyroll Anime Awards, especially since the competition. Well, it would have to compete with ReZero Season 2, probably, so...
Yeah. So, Justin, what were some of your favorites this year?
Well, I didn't love I don't think any of these anime are amazing, but in addition to Interspecies Reviewers, I like Dorohedoro. I thought that was really funny.
Oh, right, that came out this year.
Yeah, that was really good.
I forgot that came out.
Yeah, Yeah, like even funnier than interspecies reviewers. And I was like, it's different humor, of course. Like it's dark humor. It's basically all these characters think they're in a shonen, but they're not. They live in a world where the death happens and all of
Uh
that.
huh.
That's pretty much the joke, and it's really good dark humor. My favorite anime that I've seen this year is probably The Great Pretender, and that's mostly because the cast is so great. The story itself, the first arc was awesome. The last arc was cool. The arc and the second and third arc, the ones in between, were mostly just decent. But the
Mm-hmm.
characters are like so cool. It's like watching those Ocean's 11 movies back when they were good. And it was a fun show. That's mainly the reason why it's my number one, because it just had my favorite cast of characters from this year with a story that did them justice. And I'll just give a quick shout out to Akudama Drive, and also
Yeah, I need to
brand new
watch that.
and also brand new Animal, which a lot of people seem to not like, but I thought it was okay. I mean, even though it is a lot very similar to a lot of Trigger shows. So if you're tired of them, then yeah, brand new Animal is not going to change your mind. And I will say though, when it comes to like some of the other popular shows, in addition to that, I did watch the entire last season of Origairu Snafu. People seem to really love that third season, but I was like, this romantic resolution, because the main couple finally got together in it, was okay. And I mean, animation was definitely better. The animation, which was definitely better than the first season, which looked kind of stale, and was
Mm-hmm.
and also it was still really good though. So I get why people like it, but and let's see, what's something that other people like that I've watched. I don't know. I don't really know. I think I've watched. I mean that's not a sequel, or it's not like trendy like Rent a Girlfriend and Demon King Misfit Academy were. Like I know people like those, but I don't think anyone loved them. I don't really want to dwell on them. And I guess the same thing is true for that "Oh Fly Me to the Moon" anime that was written by the Hayate the Combat Butler dude, about this kid named NASA who marries his waifu in the first episode, and like they do stuff together, and that's pretty much the show. I don't really know much about it, so I won't really say too much. And no, I have not watched the Higurashi remake. I've heard
Oh
upper bad
yeah,
things about that.
I'll
Yeah,
let you know. Give me a week.
yeah, yeah. And quick shout out to some of the worst crap that I watched this year. Or at least, or really, listeners, you were really horrible. I'm just gonna say you were really horrible. You were a bad attempt to revive the Eureka 7 spirit, and yeah, I'm sorry, Daisato, but your writing just wasn't good here. Yeah, I'm so sorry, man. And also, yes, I do know about that June Maida anime. I've heard that was terrible, but I didn't bother because I read the Hulu summaries and I was like, nope. And let's see, what's another one that was okay, yeah, God of High School. I know was criticized a lot. It wasn't great. Yeah, I think oh yeah. Keep your hands off Azokin. I know a lot of people like that show too.
No, I
I
dropped that.
didn't.
Not a
All
fan.
right,
Oh,
I didn't.
I
All right.
liked it.
I mean, it wasn't terrible. It was fine. It's just that I couldn't
Not your thing.
connect with the main character very well. But it was definitely better
Yeah,
than
they're
his
a
definitely
bunch of misfits.
it was definitely better than his other anime this year. Japan Sings 2020. That show was terrible. I am sorry. I do not care what anyone says. That show was terrible. Okay, I think that's everything.
Oh, Uh, I
So,
mean, I
Nick, your turn.
yeah, I didn't watch as much as I thought I was going to. I've seen all for backstory, all of like the previous Rail Decks series, so certain scientific railgun and a certain magical index. Just I don't know, it's just a guilty pleasure of mine. And so I saw Railgun T, which is like the third
Mhm.
season of that came out,
I think
and I
so.
enjoyed
Yeah.
it. It focuses more on like it's basically uh My Hero Academia, but like set in a city. I don't know how else to explain it. All the girls have also all the characters are like mostly girls except for like these two random guys
Oh.
that just like show up
I mean,
like, oh, I just
Railgun.
have a
There's espers,
random
and then there's
power.
mages, and then there's
Mhm.
religion, and then there's science.
They
Yeah.
just throw so many
mean-
things and like power levels and like, oh, but no, my thing just cancels out everything. It's like,
Yeah,
what?
there's
That's bullshit. But it's like, no, that's how it is.
yeah, we have
It's interesting.
yeah, we have the character who just eliminates all all fantasy elements from the show. All fantasy and sci-fi elements.
It's very great.
But I
Yeah, I like
personally
the characters and all. Mhm.
yeah, I could never get into the Railgun series because I just didn't enjoy the school setting and how much it just kind of spent time. At least the first season spent too much time in school and less time on like
Oh
character
God.
development
Yeah.
and fights. First
Railgun
season
T
I
was
really didn't
so.
like.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say it's like the best series ever. It's just
Yeah, I
a
guess
personal
like
one of mine.
I would argue like, if you like the first 3 seasons of the base series and you just want to know more, then you might as well just watch Railgun. But
Mhm.
for me, I
Yeah.
I didn't really care for Railgun, but I like the base series.
I know that
Yeah.
Railgun got treated a lot better than the latest season of Index did. The latest season
Yeah, I
of
heard
Index
that
is
wasn't very
criticized for
good.
its horrible animation.
Oh yeah, it really seemed to drop towards the end, and it's just like
Yeah.
it definitely just the index like plot lines just go all over the place. Like, oh, now we're going to London to like beat up the Pope or something. That's like, what? What?
Uh-huh.
What? Why are we doing that
Why
for?
not?
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, we punch nuns. We might as well punch the Pope as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
It's just such a crazy series. Like, it starts out in like school and like, oh no, we're gonna be late for like the school festival or something, and then at the end it's like, oh, and then now we're gonna turn you into level 6 and you will surpass God. And it's like, what the hell? Where
Everyone wants to
you just
surpass
have
God
no
these
idea
days.
where the plot's gonna
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that I think I talked about it previously. Then Revolutionary Girl Utena also enjoyed just as a historical. I guess I like to switch it up, like one sort of classic older anime, then one kind of more modern one. So I watched Trigun then as well. I got to see the movie then. I think that one is also on.
Oh, that's right. You weren't
Badlands
around.
Rebel.
Uh,
Yeah,
What,
that's right.
Badlands?
You weren't around when we did the movie watch of that, right?
no, I missed it unfortunately.
Ah.
So I'll have to catch up. I got the Funimation app thing on the Switch, so I think they're both on there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
give
I
us
watched
your
that on.
Funimation app review on the Switch when we
It's
have our next
like
episode.
I have gotten some glitches now since my first like from last episode of the
Mm-hmm.
podcast. I've had some issues. It just actually I think every time you go to a new episode, you have to return the subtitles on. They
Oh.
like
Huh.
they turn off automatically when it goes in each episode. Maybe it's some setting or something that
It's a
I
feature.
am
Wait, are
missing, but
you
it
trying to
just
imply you didn't watch Trigun dubbed?
I'm watching it. I am actually watching the dub, but
Oh,
I
thank
still like
God.
will want to put
Oh.
the subtitles on the bottom,
Right, right.
just because sometimes it just makes it easier
I was
to
about to
forget
say,
what's going on.
about
But
to
no, no,
eject
yeah,
you
I'm
right
watching the
here.
dub. I don't think the sub is on Funimation. I think it's only the dub. Um, I don't
Oh,
know.
interesting.
But yeah, I've been watching the dub, but with subtitles because I'm doubly lame. But so that what else? Appare Ranman. It did not win. We have an anime discussion coming up. It did not win that one. But I suggested it. It's okay. But it's a fun story that's like these two guys from Japan in 1900s. They end up isekai in a sense in America in California at the turn of like the century, and it's a what's that around the world in 100 days sort of Jules Verne esque story where they have to win a car race that's across America in order to make enough money to get back to Japan. But the one guy is just a really crazy inventor and he turns his boat into a car, but they're up against like guys from like Mad Max and just like really silly. It's basically wacky races. The
Oh my
anime
god.
was how it was described to me, and how I would describe it to others. It does have, Justin pointed out in our discussion that we had a little while back. It does have a big like kind of plot twist, at like episode 3 or 4, that does like change up the frame, and then it's like it's not really about the race anymore, and it's like
Hmm.
I don't know
Yeah,
how.
I haven't
Cool.
gone
I
back to
wasn't
that anime
a big fan of
after.
that, but it does turn around. It does get a lot better, and you become more invested in the
Right.
characters individually, even though like the plot itself is not as
Mhm.
like the focus of the show, but it does still end up with a good like
Yeah.
payoff in my opinion. And it's cool because it actually shows on the like credits, or not credits, the commercial breaks, it shows like panels from the manga.
Oh.
And I really appreciate when like to kind of like compare, and you're like, oh wow, that's like a really, like sometimes the manga panels are like better than the animation in a sense, but some of them like give more backstory
I've
in a sense, because you don't really see like all the characters backstories and all, but like from just 1 or 2 pictures of them, like the outlaws and all, you can definitely
yeah.
get a sense of like, oh, that's who this character is.
Yeah, I'm sure that everybody who watches anime made by Queen Bee will know what seeing how the difference between manga and anime is like. And if you don't know who Queen Bee is, well then you're not cultured.
Isn't there a band as well, like a J-Rock band called Queen Bee too?
There might be.
I think they did the opening to Dororo.
But seriously, guys, Queen Bee is 18 plus.
Oh, I see. But yeah, that was like I was trying to think of what else I watched. I saw the first couple episodes of The Journey of Ileana, the magical witch adventure
Hmm.
that has good animation, but the character is like the main character is an INTP like personality. That's the only way
INTP?
I can describe it. So it's like the Myers Briggs personality. She's just a very cold, logical, like, oh, okay, I helped you out now. I'm going to go. I am the best witch, and don't forget it. But just
Well,
like, I don't know
we
Yeah,
just
where the plot
I've
can even
heard
go.
of that. I've heard of that show. Some people have recommended it to me, but I looked it up, and it has some. It has some. I haven't. I don't. I can't confirm for myself, but it seems to have some like really weird tonal issues that make it like a lesser Kino's Journey. Back when Kino's Journey was actually
Yeah,
good.
it's just like the main character is just very like cynical,
Mhm.
I guess, and I don't know. I thought I would like it, but it's in my dropped list. Maybe I'll pick it
think.
back up if there's like a lull and I
Mhm.
have some more
Well,
free time.
it's all right. I think we've already lost our INTP viewers here. So
I
Like if that's your favorite personality, you would like this, but it's a very cold, cynical,
yeah.
logical witch girl adventure
Mhm.
show.
Yeah. I can't.
What
I
about
can't.
you,
I can't
Jamar?
really
Oh,
say. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, I can't say for myself, but I've been tried to be sold on that show, and yeah, nothing I heard told me that I would sell. Same thing with like Talentless Nana. Some people try to tell me, "Hey,
oh,
watch
that one is
Talentless."
on my radar, but
Some people told me,
yeah.
"Hey, watch Talentless Nana. It's real. It's a really clever series." And I look up the premise, find out why people like it, and I'm like, this is the stupidest thing I have ever seen. As like it's one of those anime where it's like how Madoka Magica has that big plot twist and it's
mhm.
like School Live, aka Gakugarashi and stuff. Read Talentless Nana's plot twist and it was stupid to me. I did not think it made any sense.
I think I almost want to say like the reason that that was so popular for a bit was because it came out at the same time as Among Us
As
was
Among Us.
popular, and it was like, oh,
Well,
it's the meme. It's like Among Us, but an anime.
yeah.
Like,
Well, here's the
I
thing.
guess.
If that's the only reason for the anime's existence, then it can fuck right off. Because I am not watching a gimmicky anime again. Okay, I
Yeah,
already
like
sat through Don Machi season
yeah,
fucking 3.
I'll
I don't
see it if I
like.
have time to pick it up. If it does have more than just that, like the plot twist, like oh, it's actually someone imposter.
Yeah,
Like,
I actually have asked
but
if there was
we'll
more to the
see.
plot twist, but people told me there wasn't. That's why I
Mhm.
didn't pick it up. All right, Jamar, your turn.
I think you guys cover all the anime I watch. Like Hero was probably my top one for last year.
Hmm.
Like I enjoyed the character interaction with the cleaners, so Noi and Shin. that series is fun. I think my wife and I binged it in like a day and a half continuously. And I like watched a lot of slice of life animes for some reason. So
Okay.
Nichijou, Wasteful Days of High School Girls, Daily Lives of High School Boys.
Hmm.
And it was just like a nice get away from like the horrors of the outside world.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
sometimes
But
you just need
yeah,
one of those like relaxing, like
Comfy
Butcher
animes.
yeah,
Kitten season 2 Yuru Camp. Okay, sorry.
Oh,
yeah. No,
there's an old anime called Aria that's known to be really
Yeah, Aria the
relaxing.
Origination.
yeah, I haven't seen that in a while.
Uh,
And finished up the new season of Fruit Basket or the latest one.
oh, nice.
Oh, I
And
still have not seen the new season of Fruits
it,
Basket.
it's pretty good. Like I was a fan of the original manga like decades ago,
Hmm.
and I'm not super into their like super hot, pretty artwork, but the ability for them to actually cover the manga in decent detail has been pretty good. There hasn't been like an episode where you didn't like feel like you want to cry. It makes you want to feel.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I need to get back to
Speaking of
watching
some
manga.
season twos, some anime I'm gonna look forward to next season. I'm definitely looking forward to Chainsaw Man.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
this year,
I mean, that's not
not
season
next
two, but
season, but
you
Yeah.
know.
yeah. I'm looking forward to Chainsaw Man. I'm looking forward to Horimiya because I've been reading I've read the manga and I really like it. I hope it gets a good adaptation. And I've heard a
That's
lot
always
of
the issue.
I'm sorry.
That's always the issue, is it whether the anime will actually care like
Yeah.
reflect in the manga.
I really want to see the Shaman King reboot.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
I couldn't. I tried to go back and watch Shaman King when I was older, and I just couldn't really do it. It was just kind of too dated for me.
Yeah.
It's not that it was. It's not because it was old. It's just the art style at the time didn't really blend well with the animation for me, and it just looked
It
kind
was,
of janky.
it
I
was a
don't
bit
know.
rough. Yeah.
Yeah, but those are the highlights for this year for me for stuff that's coming out. Did you guys have any that you're looking forward to?
Nope. Not a
All right.
single one.
Wow.
Aside from maybe being curious on the Demon Slayer movie because it's now the highest grossing
Yep.
Japanese
Beat
movie.
Spirited Away.
Yeah, it did. Like, yeah,
Oh, that,
it just slayed all the inhabitants.
Ha,
Tanjiro
slay.
just came in with a sword and just like sliced everyone, and
Yep.
everyone's just crying.
yeah,
And
they're all demons,
Tanjiro's
I
like,
guess.
okay, fuck you, Japan. Shonen Jump is the future.
Okay. What about you, Nick?
I mean, yeah, there's some interesting ones coming up. I was a big fan of the Doctor Stone the first season, so I'm looking
Ooh.
forward to where that's gonna go. But
Stone Wars.
I don't know.
I would be I
Like I guess I was just a fan of like all the science and like that not everyone was
I,
a fan of, but like, oh, we're gonna turn rocks into soap and then into cell phones, but like actually going through all the stages of it,
Hmm.
and I could like recognize
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, they need to get sulfur and then they need to do this chemical reaction. But then sometimes it would just go above my head, and actually frequently it went above my head. But it's cool that they actually are trying to like use real science
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
math and stuff.
and my problem with the Doctor Stone anime was that it was not very well produced. It just seemed like an average adaptation of the manga, and
Yeah.
Who
just
who did that? Was it Telly? I can't remember.
yeah.
Was it Telly?
Was it Toei or TMS? I think it was TMS.
It looks like a Toei show, but I'm not 100% sure on that one.
Yeah, I think like the opening was like the best part of the animation
Yeah,
for them. You're like, oh
yeah,
yeah, this is gonna be an awesome show, and then like, oh, I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah, it's meh.
and average.
Toho. Toho Animation.
Yeah.
That's producer.
No, it's
TMS.
TMS.
TMS. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so it's TMS. Yeah, I mean, that art style is hard to translate to animation as is. But yeah, there was like some really janky scenes. Like, remember when Senku had a plan to set the guy on fire, and he just stood there, like
Yeah, that was like, oh,
like
I'm gonna light him on fire with the magnifying glass or something. Just give it an hour.
and literally relied on the guy just
uh,
standing there and taking it
there was
while
some kind of
while narration happened.
yeah. But yeah, other things I'm looking forward to. I mean, they're kind of iffy if they're actually gonna come out. Well, with like the Evangelion movie, but we'll see
Yeah.
about that. I got caught up with My Hero Academia somehow, so
Hmm.
when season 5 of that comes out, it says maybe in March. I'm
Yeah.
curious as to how that'll do. That's about. I mean, I enjoy cells at work. I enjoy learning more biology and all, but I'm also unfortunately a bit squeamish when it comes to like blood and stuff. And so like
But the platelets, man,
uh,
the
I
platelets.
know, I know. I need the platelets to come in and make
Yeah.
everything better, but we'll see if I actually and like cells that work black too. It seems like a much more dark, edgy. Like,
Yeah,
oh, this is your
Yeah.
body on like drugs and
Yeah,
they're
marijuana
gonna tell me the
stuff.
Ebola virus now.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
So I'm really curious as to how they like personify these because
Yeah.
like in the first one, I hope it's not too much spoilers, but there's like a cancer cell kind of at the end, and it like goes into like what actually it's not necessarily a malevolent thing. It's
Yeah.
just your body is like copying
I mean,
the data wrong.
That's
It's
true
just
about
Uh,
cancer in general, really.
yeah, and so it's really just informative. I mean, maybe not everyone watches it to learn more about T cells and helper cells and stuff, but I enjoyed it at least the first season. So we'll see where
Yeah.
that goes. Um, and then the world ends with you when that comes out. However that'll go. Uh, I was a big fan of the game. I didn't get like the Switch remaster of it, but apparently enough people did that they got enough money to make an anime and maybe even a sequel game.
There is a sequel
Then
game
too,
coming out
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Neo or something.
Yeah.
So I like the universe. It's
The art
interestingly
style.
enough, yeah, it may cross over with some theories or like the next Kingdom Hearts may just be like the world ends with you world
I thought
It
because
was
like
Kingdom
already in
Hearts was
Kingdom
supposed to be
Hearts.
Final Fantasy versus 13,
oh
right?
yeah
Like,
that would ever come.
yeah,
I don't know.
like he's trying to turn Kingdom Hearts into new Final Fantasy versus 13. Now that
Maybe.
it is the original Final Fantasy
Because
versus
It
13,
I
because
mean,
Dream Dragons
yeah.
died.
the
It's gonna
world
be interesting, but it
wor-
just seemed like that ending movie kind of took place in the Shibuya. That was like the 401
Yeah,
or
but wasn't like the secret character
whatever.
stuff and stuff like that supposed to be like Final Fantasy versus 13 concepts?
I don't
It may be.
know.
I feel like he's
Yeah,
taking a
It's
lot
been
of
so
stuff from that
long.
original plot, but
Um,
it
yeah.
seems
yeah.
like yeah, it's just time
Remember
to
in the
end it
trailer for
and
Final Fantasy versus
make something new.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
They had the characters from The World Ends with You and Dream Drop Distance, but it was
Yeah.
kind of like half-assed in that they just shoot them in a traverse town.
Pretty
So,
much, yeah.
yeah, maybe they'll do a real world at some point if you are still clinging to Kingdom Hearts after all this time. Then something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
Um,
This
really.
looks like a
I
good
kind of
spot to find some ingredients.
oh
I want
no,
it
let's
to
not
end
talk
with
about it.
Oh,
We can have
oh
a we can
gosh.
have a whole episode just kind of shitting
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Kingdom Hearts.
But we won't. But anyways,
We will.
okay,
I,
Jamar, anything
That's
you
about
yeah,
it
looking
for the
forward to?
show. Yeah, I'm looking
there's
forward to
actually a bunch of stuff I'm actually looking forward to. So, of course, The World End with You, the Demon Slayer movie,
Hmm.
Mobile Suit Gundam Hathaway,
Huh.
which
Oh,
is yeah.
I know about the existence of Hathaway, but I didn't know. I thought it was over.
No, they finally go get it released. So
Oh.
basically, a quick summary of it: it takes place after Shaw's second rebellion.
Mhm.
So it's Bright's Noah's son, Hathaway, and they'll finish up the universe seven seven
Is that
nine.
following Unicorn?
No, this is the original OG universe.
I thought Unicorn was a reboot of the OG universe, or am I just completely
The,
off?
Unicorn's another part of the universe. This follows the direct descendants of what happened during the first Universal War,
Ah, okay.
the One War. We have that the end of Fruit Basket, and I think that might be it. Actually, I kind of want to see what's going to happen with the Bleach because they're actually going to
Oh yeah, the
finish the
Bleach
series
reboot.
after
Yeah,
like
I'm
10 years.
interested in seeing what happens when Bleach comes back. Considering, yeah, I thought when Bleach ended, people really hated it, but no, turns out people still actually really like it.
Yeah, I don't know where they
Even though
found those people.
Yeah, it honestly Bleach ended for me after the Soul Saga. Everything else is
well,
just
well, the thing with Bleach is that I know that that Tite Kubo really did not do a good job of keeping his health intact during Bleach, and so he had to and I know that he had to shut down from social media for a while because
Hmm.
the reaction to the ending was pretty poor. I don't.
Yeah.
At least that's what or at least that's what I
Uh,
remember.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of them don't take care of their health. Like the same thing with Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah, that's why X hiatus is a thing because
Yeah.
nobody wants to
Yeah.
yeah,
That,
Yeah.
The Gray Man, and I could just keep going
yeah.
Yeah. There's a
down the
lot of
list of
them.
That's
that.
why his new manga slash anime, because an anime adaptation came out at the same time. Burn the Witch. It's like it's released in like seasonal chunks now. It's like
Hmm.
I thought that was just gonna be a one-off.
no, the next season will be coming out sometime.
Hmm.
And Japan loved it because Burn the Witch sold pretty decently.
Hmm.
And so it's like we'll be expecting more sometime.
I'll watch it.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
well, I think that's all we have to say about the anime.
Yep.
Yeah. Does anybody want to talk about any movies or good music they listen to this year?
Queen's
Even
Gambit is a
TV
pretty good
shows.
Netflix series.
Okay,
Yeah,
I've heard a lot
I
about
think
that.
I think it was you that mentioned that I should watch it, but then also my parents mentioned that I should watch it.
Yeah.
So definitely Queen's Gambit, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I just saw I didn't know it was going to be big, honestly. I just saw the preview for it when I randomly looked at my Netflix app and it was like, it's about a chess prodigy. Okay, I'll watch this. And yeah, it actually became one of the bigger Netflix series. I really liked it too.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of it like it
I'll have
kind
to
of
check it
reminded
out.
yeah, it kind of reminded
Yeah.
me when I read about it about like Hikaru no Go. And
Oh.
obviously but obviously when I watched Queen's Gambit, it's not really the same story because the car had a struggle
Mm-hmm.
while the main character learned chess when she was a kid and all that. And,
That's
and
interesting.
it is about rising up in the world, but Hikaru, he could never be strong enough to beat the pros because that would not be realistic or like fit the tone of that manga. Wow, Queen's Gambit's a little different, little bit of a different story. She really she wants to compete against the big pros of their time. So yeah. So yeah, that's my Netflix shout out. Movie shout out. Soul was a pretty decent Pixar film. I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. I'm sure a lot of people who watch it would like it too if they are like a fan of
Mm-hmm.
Up and like some of Pete Docter's other stuff.
But yeah, how does it fit into the Pixar universe of was it Inside Out?
Yeah,
And these
Inside Out was made by the same guy too.
is it like the same connected spiritual universe? Or I don't know.
Let's not get into that shared universe.
That may be a bit
crap.
too
It's like that
confusing.
shared universe crap is already confusing enough with Marvel. I don't want to
Yeah.
put Pixar on that. Yeah. So yeah, those are my miscellaneous shout outs. How about you guys?
I've been watching after during the holidays, I didn't really have access to my computer and anything, so I was watching my backlog. I was watching The Boys season 2, which I put out I waited way too long to watch it, but it's been awesome actually. I didn't expect it to really touch season 1, but it's honestly I like it more than season 1 so far. So we'll see
Oh, nice.
if it
Yeah.
keeps holding up. I'm only around I think I'm about halfway through now. Can't remember if it's are they 7, 8 episode seasons with The Boys? I don't remember, but I must be pretty close to being done. So
Yeah. What do you think about Homelander?
man, it just keeps getting crazier and crazier.
I know he's such a
Man,
dick, but I find
I don't want to
there's
spoil
some-
anything, but yeah, I mean you kind of know what you're in for with Homelander if you've even watched remotely any of the series.
I don't know if it's just the actor or something, but something about Homelander's dickishness really appeals to me. I have no idea. I have no idea what.
Yeah, Chris Evans just kills it with that character.
Yeah, because I usually don't like those kind of villains who are basically just so that their character trait is basically that they're an egomaniac. But yeah, something about his.
Yeah, because usually they're one dimensional, but Homelander's just such a wreck that you kind of want to follow what he's gonna do. He's so volatile as a character.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been having a lot of fun with that. And the only movie I can remember I watched that came out this year is Invisible Man, and that was pretty good for a low budget horror film, like horror thriller. It was pretty good. they made the special effects for like the invisibility suit like actually really good. And I was like, I looked at the budget; it was like $2 or $3 million, and I was like, how do they do that? But it's produced in Australia, I think, and I've not heard of the director before, but they did have the girl from *Handmaid's Tale* as the main character,
Hmm.
and it was pretty good. I'd recommend it if you like to just kind of see little. If you like to see indie horror movies that are pretty good, I would recommend that one.
Yeah.
Um, from some music I enjoyed this year, I enjoyed Run the Jewels 4. It was a really good album. I don't know if I liked it as much as RTJ 3, but it's definitely my second favorite. After Hours by The Weeknd, I enjoyed quite a bit. There was about 2, 3 bangers on there for me. Unlocked by Denzel Curry and Kenny Beats was so good. It's like if you haven't watched it, it's like a series of music video, or it's a one big music video on YouTube where they essentially rap over animations that are inspired by anime and Western cartoons. Like one was like Samurai Jack themed, one was Junji Ito themed, one was trying to remember the anime for that one. Well, at any rate, they had a lot of interesting animation for that one, and they just keep kind of teleporting through worlds in the music video to a different animation style, and then it plays a different song, and it was really fun. But if you have time to watch that music video, it's really cool. Um, the Charlie XCX album that came out the beginning of the year, How I'm Feeling Now, it was pretty good. I didn't like it as much as the previous album, which what was the previous album's name? It was
I
just
don't know.
like
I forgot what it was called, but I do remember it being pretty good.
yeah, the previous album I liked a lot more than this one, but I forget what the album name was. I think it was just Charlie. I don't
Oh
remember.
yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, it was something like minimal. Yeah, it was Charlie, and it was a 1,000 gecs, which came out from 100 gecs like the end of last year or the end of 2019. But they also like put out a full length album, like additional songs that they added to it near the beginning of 2020. So I'll kind of count it, but it was pretty good if you like 100 gecs. It's like extremely experimental album, so you know what you're getting into if you've listened to them. The new Abnormal by The Strokes was really good. It's like probably the only good Strokes album I've heard in a long time. I really enjoyed that. And then you have Folklore and Evermore by Taylor Swift, which is a couple of folk albums out of Taylor Swift, which I thought were actually a really good shift for her. I thought they were pretty good, and I've been listening to them. They're kind of nice to listen to if you're working if you're working like virtually right now, or remotely. Those are kind of good laid back albums to just put on. So that's I've been listening to some of those, and Chromatica from Lady Gaga was pretty good. Definitely not Lady Gaga's peak, not at all, but it was still a pretty decent album. Um, outside of that, just recently we found out MF Doom passed away on Halloween, and his family kind of didn't want to release it till later, so they had time to grieve, which is understandable. But yeah, that was just a real big shock for the hip hop community, and so many artists looked up to MF Doom. So it's been just an interesting couple days for Twitter if you're in that kind of Twitter space.
Yeah,
Yeah, what's up?
I guess for me, I was actually super shocked because I remember seeing MF Doom back when I used to live in New York City.
Oh, you saw him live?
Yeah, I saw him
Was
live.
it actually him or was it somebody else?
No, I think it was him. We're talking like 20 years ago?
Well, the meme of Doom is that there's a lot of situations where he
Yeah.
got his friends to
No, it was
perform
him.
for him. If you didn't know that, I'll just tell the viewers. But if you didn't know that MF Doom would have people perform for him, some of his friends, and then he would rap backstage. And a lot of people get pissed that he did that. But yeah, it was kind of a Doom tactic. Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
How was it?
It It was pretty awesome. I'm trying to remember why I got into MF Doom. I think it might been the same time a Dreamcast game called Jet Set Radio that came out.
Oh, was
I
he on
think
that?
I can't remember if he was, but somehow I got involved listening to him between
Mhm.
him and Jurassic 5 back there.
Ooh, okay.
And I'm not a big rap guy,
Mhm.
but I actually enjoy his lyrics. And when he quote unquote was on stage performing, it was a real good experience. And again, much love to their family, and our hearts go out to them.
Yeah, definitely. I know just a lot. Me and some of my friend group have just been kind of streaming his albums from start to finish and just really enjoying that. And if you like Adult Swim, he did quite a few collabs with Adult Swim. He had the whole Danger Doom album, which is hilarious because I never really gave that much of a listen. Another thing about Doom is, he uses so many aliases, it's hard to find his whole discography. And the Danger Doom albums have a lot of clip cuts to Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and then he'll just start rapping in there with Master Shake and Meatwad. But it's a lot of fun. So if you haven't listened to Doom before, now's a great time to just kind of pay respects and find out just broaden your horizons a little bit with some interesting hip hop that's got some sort of jazzy elements to it. I would say he's done a lot of different stuff, but
Yeah. And I was
um,
going to say, you should probably, if you do like him, you should support his store just to get back to the
yeah,
family. But everything's sold out
yeah,
just
yeah.
because the community is doing what they can to support their family. So,
hmm Yeah, and talking, following people who've passed away recently. I mean, this was a bit while back at this point, but Juice World, there's still unreleased songs from Juice World coming out and albums, and usually, like it happened with
Tupac.
yeah, that
yeah,
happened with Tupac, but it also happened with dude,
Biggie Smalls.
Biggie Small. I mean, it happened with so many people actually. But who's the other guy that passed away not too long ago? Oh, Mac Miller. Yeah, they came out with that Mac Miller album and they released like his unreleased songs, and I think it was an album he was about to finish before he committed suicide, and then they released it and it was just like topping charts. But similar situations kind of happening with Juice World in that they're finding a lot of unreleased music he didn't want to put out. Well, I don't know if he didn't want to put it out, but it's just kind of one of those things where they can't place it in the album they're releasing at the time, so they just kind of like hold it for an album that fits that theme, and they're just kind of doing like compilation albums of stuff like that for Juice World, and a lot of the stuff's really good. Um, but there's been that, and also this year, if you have been stuck inside wanting to see some concerts, there's just been a lot of options for virtual concerts. Um, the main one I saw this year was I sat through the whole Porter Robinson one, which was pretty good. He had a lot of good EDM and electronic artists there. They had actually what's her name? They had the VTuber on there, and she did a concert.
Oh, Kizuna, I.
Yeah, it's
Kizuna.
Kizuna I. Yeah,
That's not. That's nice. She's been uh she hasn't been in the public eye for like a while now.
Public
It seems
Eye,
like.
huh?
Yes,
Uh,
exactly. Like
she was
I
like
don't
the
like.
the grandmother of
Yeah,
all like AI or like
Yeah.
not like VTubers, I
all
suppose, but she's like an
VTubers.
AI, so it's like
Yeah, nowadays
Well,
she barely gets like what she like she only gets like 5-digit views on her YouTube videos these days.
yeah,
Oh wow.
oh, dang.
only 5-digit views.
Yeah,
Wow,
That's I
yeah.
mean
just
that's
coming up,
Now
huh?
a bit, but
now that's good
comparatively
if you're
to like the
that,
millions of views, I
yeah,
think.
Yeah,
that's good until you see the subscriber base. Like
yeah.
if you have like over 1 million views subscribers, you usually want to aim for 6-digit views. Like you
Yeah.
want to get at least 100,000 views a video.
But ironically, it's been a really big year for VTubers that aren't I. Um I've just seen a lot of music come out of VTubers, a lot of original songs. They had the Hololive concert recently if you're in a Hololive,
Hmm.
and none of the new Hololive English were featured there because they just recently debuted, so they usually hold on that. but there's been a lot of original songs out of Hololive and some of the other indie VTubers as well. But other virtual concerts, I know there's been a lot of Minecraft Line concerts for a while, where if you
I saw
join
you
the
put that.
server,
I have not
yeah,
heard about these,
yeah,
but
if you join the
that sounds really
server, you have just a
interesting.
bunch of people on one server, and you have um
Like the DJ
yeah,
guy
you'll have the bands playing,
doing his thing.
and the like the actual pit, like you know how there'll be a concert pit that
Yeah.
would be in Minecraft, and there'd be a little stage platform and the band's characters in there jumping around. But I think for the most part, I haven't done one, but I think
Yeah.
all the live audio is through YouTube. But
Huh.
it's pretty cool.
Hmm.
I know 100 Gex did one. Caro Benito was on one. I remember some other. I think Charlie XCX was on one too. Like it was weird. I didn't follow it, but there was quite a few of them. I started seeing them pop up left and right during early COVID, around March and June. Actually, around June. That's when people
Like
started trying to find a
someone,
new
yeah,
source of
didn't someone
income.
do a concert in like Fortnite too or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Marshmello, Travis Scott.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna catch on, but I mean, if we're stuck in quarantine for much longer, then sure.
Yeah.
I guess concerts in Animal Crossing next.
I
All
used
right.
to just kind of like post whenever there was a live or like a virtual concert that you could join, but there's just been so many at this point, and now people are starting to tack fees on with them, or ticket fees, which is
Hmm.
fine. You know, they got to get money too, but I personally don't like a concert. I won't pay for a concert experience that's virtual personally.
It's
Because
not the
I kind of got to
same.
be
It's
there.
not the same, but I
Yeah.
guess at the same time, you'll support your artists.
Yeah. Yeah. Miku actually did one. I don't know if it's happened yet, but she cuz the tour was like flat out canceled in general. Miku Expo, there was a campaign that she ran for tickets for one that would be virtual, and I was kind of like, I don't know, because then you also pay the Vocaloid concert premium of like $60 or something, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. I'm good. Miku will do fine without my support. She makes enough money, I'm sure, off
She'll survive.
merch. But
Virtual rum.
did anybody else want to bring up some other things they did this year or last
I mean,
year?
the only other thing, I haven't actually finished Mandalorian season 2. I would need to renew my
Yeah, I've
Disney
heard that's
Plus
really good.
Yeah,
subscription.
I have actually watched
But it's been
Mandalorian.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen Mandalorian season
Awesome.
2, and it also gets a shout out for me. That especially that finale.
Yeah, I've heard it's really good even for people that don't
Looking
like
forward to
Star
it then.
Wars.
Nice.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
and that's like
it does focus mostly on the
mm,
Mandalorian and his space
Hmm.
travel. It does. It is. I mean, it is very. It is very space opera episodic stuff. Admittedly, like Cowboy Bebop to a degree, except a bit more episodic than that. There is an
Hmm.
ongoing
mm,
story, but the episodic story, but the episodes are mainly their own self-contained thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's neat. That and there's so many more Star Wars because of the success of that. There's a lot of Star Wars shows coming
Yeah,
if you
I
have
know.
Disney Plus,
That
but
a lot of
series
spin-offs
and
and
all
stuff.
that.
oh god. But we've been dragging on a while, y'all. So let's close out. Is There's a couple of things I wanted to note that we do have the DamFam 2021 t-shirts. If you're interested in that, the campaign for that ends on the January 14th. So,
It's a really
um,
cool design. Yeah.
yeah, I actually like the design. Not that they're bad,
Oh yeah, not like the
but
previous designs are awful or
yeah,
anything,
but I
but
really
this one,
like
yeah,
this.
in particular.
It
It's
really
the best one
pops.
yet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
that's
In commemoration of 2,700 members, which is wow, a lot.
sweet.
Also, Justin, you're hosting Rashomon.
Yep.
The
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if people will watch this episode by the time
Oh, we got a few
I
days.
watch this.
I think it'll be out by then.
Yeah, basically, I'm gonna try to mix up the variety of movies that I show this year online, especially since there's just I think people are getting a little tired of just constant anime movies, even if I have barely shown any of like the popular stuff. I will do like a more mix of like some anime films and some live action stuff. But mostly Asian though. I might slip in a normie movie watch sometime. I also want to like.
Mm,
I also will do. I also plan to like finally show like some stuff like Ghost in the Shell
ooh,
now that we've gotten the Pat Labor arc out of the way, and
yeah.
I and still no plans to do any of the popular Miyazaki stuff because everyone else has already seen them. But except for The Wind Rises, because I know a lot of people haven't really seen that one.
Right.
And, but and I will also and I also will show like some of the less the Ghibli films that most people did not watch, like
Hmm.
from Up on Poppy Hill, which I don't think personally is a great movie, but I go like, I might as well show this just so that we can watch the taste of what happens when Miyazaki's son eventually releases that really ugly looking CG film he's doing.
Yeah, I heard he's
Hmm.
Yeah,
working on
yeah.
something, so
I understand Miyazaki's son Goro has a lot to live up to. I understand that he got very humiliated when his own father walked out on his really bad Tales of
Tough
Earthsea.
love, tough love.
Yeah, and I know that some people complain about that, and yet yes, I'm aware that Miyazaki is a bit of an asshole in real life and all that. But did you
Hmm.
see Tales of Earthsea? That movie was shit.
I
And
have it
Goro has
on
not
DVD somewhere.
and Goro himself, like in general, has just not really done anything after that has made me like want to
Yeah,
like trust him.
yeah.
Like
It's something to
like
see the whole Studio Ghibli next generation of directors. They haven't really passed the torch very well.
yeah, very well. That's true
Yeah.
because like my problem with From Up on Poppy Hill, which some people see, is that you couldn't have made that movie live action and it wouldn't have changed a thing. Like I
Yeah.
can't recall one really well animated scene in that movie. And I'm not and I'm not talking like I'm not just talk like I'm just talking about like the animation because I know that
Hmm.
not everyone likes Ghibli films. Corey himself isn't like a big fan of most of them he's seen. I'm just talking about like on a technical level. Is this up to Ghibli standards and what they've
Yeah.
accomplished with animation? And in my opinion, from like Goro has not done anything that has been that has been like visually interesting. And his latest CG film is not doesn't look like it's going to change my mind.
Yeah. Well, it's something to see how that pans out this year.
Yeah.
Um,
I still do think it's interesting enough to show, of course, because like I said, I've strayed away from most of the popular Ghibli films because I think everyone has seen this by this point. So
yeah.
that's what. But I do want to like, I'll try to like slowly like say, like I only did Princess Mononoke because people voted for it. I did Whisper of the Heart, and because that one it wasn't as
Hmm.
popular, uh, and I did Ocean Waves, knowing fully well it was not going to be people weren't going to say as great, just as
well,
Hmm.
if
a
we list them
thing.
all, we may be here all day though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
So yeah, that's what I plan for the movies, guys.
okay. Also, we just had our January anime discussion finalized for this month. We have K Project to watch. Um, I've seen that twice actually. I really enjoyed that show. I know you. I don't think you liked it, Justin, from what I remember. But
Okay,
yeah,
the
K
Gohan's
Project.
show.
I don't remember if it was Gohan's or not,
It
but
was the one. It's the one with
I think it
with the
changed hands a couple times
character
with the
with
movies.
the blue filter, right? The one with the blue filter.
There was like gangs,
Yeah,
and
gangs. Yeah, and
yeah,
like this blue filter over
yeah.
everything.
But I won't spoil anything. But if you do like pretty banger anime soundtracks, that's probably one. That's definitely in my top 5 anime soundtracks because, dude, it's like more my theme of jazz hop, lo-fi hip hop kind of stuff. So I really enjoy the soundtrack for K, and that pulls me in a lot where the story probably is a bit lacking. But overall, I'm kind of looking forward to the conversation on that one. But you can view that on Crunchyroll and Hulu. So
One other
That's our
thing
monthly
to
discussion.
mention real quick before we go, the Games Done Quick 2021 just started today. The marathon for speedrunning video games for charity. I thought it was going to be like a charity for COVID relief, but it is for cancer Prevent Cancer Foundation again this year. I mean, which is still a good charity
Right.
too. But if anyone's interested in watching video games being sped run really fast,
Okay.
that started today.
Awesome.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our third episode of the Dallas Anime Meetup podcast. And we're signing off.
Take
Take
care,
care.
Have a good one,
everybody.
everybody.
Guys.
Bye.
Bye.